Hello and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 2018 leagues. We may have seen some real world Formula 1 action, but it's time to head over to the virtual world for round 20 of the PlayStation 4 Tier 4 here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Luke Etheridge and Stan Jones bringing you the action once again. And Stan, Brazil always seems to bring good racing, and hopefully today will be no different.
Yeah, hello everyone. Brazil is always a good track for racing, especially if you look at the recent Grand Prix, end of 2018, how the Red Bulls came through. But the best bit of this track, personally, is the run from turn 12 to turn 1. How drivers can slipstream through up the hill, and then I'm expecting we'll see some moves into turn 1.
Yeah, the first and last part of this track is all about straight line speed, and then you've got the very tight, twisty middle sector, so good traction will be all important through there. The qualifying session just getting underway with the first few cars leaving the pit lane. Qualifying not so important round here, as Stan mentioned, plenty of opportunities to overtake. One man who it is going to be a very important weekend for is the guy on your screen at the moment, Joaquin Jordi 44. If he wins the race and Jon Palainen is outside the top 8, he will be the champion for this tier. Winning the race definitely possible for Jordi, but with the way Jon Palainen's been going, you'd expect it to carry on until Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I do want to see them two wheel to wheel on track today, because there's a lot to lose. More for Jordi. I am expecting your plan to take more risks, but I think it'll be exciting.
Yeah, Jon Palainen's generally been the more cautious of the pair, I'd say. Throughout the season, we saw last time out in Mexico, he got no penalties while Jordi racked up 4. So Jordi does do well to still maintain the championship lead. He does seem to have a bit more natural pace, but it'll be interesting to see how the two would drive out on track. It's always an interesting dynamic when you're defending the championship lead compared to attacking for it.
I've just seen Slimbo start to this fine lap, and that's the tricky thing around this track. He hit turn 1 fine, hit 1 and turn 2, went over the curb with the entry of the long left-hander turn 3, and his lap time was gone. So to get a good time at this track, you have to hook, importantly, the first 3 corners up. Otherwise you do what Slimbo's doing now. Yeah,
Jordi just backing off. Yeah, it's very important to try and get a good clean exit through turn 1 and 2, mainly because of the long run down the back straight through the DRS zone. Dry weather expected today. It's not something you can always say about the Brazilian track, but I'm sure that'll be a relief for Jordi and Jon Palainen that they don't have to contend with weather and the additional variability that can bring into the mix.
But the good thing about this track is if it's dry or wet, the track's wide enough to produce good racing, whatever the conditions. So.
Yeah, plenty of good action. We'll carry on board with Slimbo as he goes on to what I'm sure will be a second flying lap. Randy Thompson currently on pole with a 107, but he's the only man to have set a representative time at the moment. Missing the apex slightly on turn 1, but he's got a much better exit through 2 and 3, the end of the Center S, heading onto the back straight. DRS wide open, available here. Ooh. And on the main straight as well, down towards turn 4. Tricky to get right as the corner drops away from you. And now the second sector, it's all about keeping it nice and tidy and smooth through here, through Ferraggiora up to the heavy braking zone of turn 8. If you're opportunistic, you can definitely overtake through here. You don't want to be too heavy on the throttle, because it'd be very easy to spin at these low speeds where there's no real downforce on the car and you're relying just on the mechanical grip. And then heading up towards Juncal, the final real corner of the track, you're flat out from here up towards the finish line. Jordi's fastest at the moment with a 107.4 and Jon Palainen just behind him. Will Slimbo be able to get involved with the action up at the front?
I watched Jordi's lap. Jordi's lap was impressive. He is very committed in the corners, but he does look like whatever setup he's running, he does look like he has that car on rails.
Yeah, it's an important compromise to be made here between straight line speed and having a good cornering performance. I know Randy Thompson said he's finally got a setup that he feels comfortable with, but in his own words, it's making him drive like a tractor. So it could be interesting if drivers get behind him. They could see quite a few long-range overtakes throughout the race. Just waiting for the final two drivers to set their first qualifying times. Hasnain has done that now, and Keys are just going on to his first flying lap. His return to the series, he hasn't been with us since the Singapore Grand Prix where he finished 7th, but he has scored points in every race he's finished this season, so he's definitely one to watch out for.
Impressive lap from Breezy in the Sauber, just to go 400ths off Geordie. I just caught the last sector of it, and he, similar to Geordie, he was committed, especially through the fast corner, the long left-hander before turn 12.
Yeah, it seems a lot of his qualifiers just going to be who's got the most confidence in the car to just hold it out through the flat-out corners and not dare to lift. If you get it wrong, of course, you will crash out spectacularly, and that will be the end of your qualifying session. It's okay doing that now. You don't want to be doing it in the race. I am impressed by the pace Joe Breezy started to show in the final bit of this season. Got a podium in Japan. He was running well in America before dropping down to 7th. He's really shown what he can do, and he'll be hoping for a good end to the season, as will many of these drivers that don't have anything to fight for.
Yeah, well, it's all about confidence, as you said. The more confident the driver has, the more he's going to be able to use his full potential. The last sector looked very good from Breezy. To get a good time around this track, you need to have confidence, but also momentum. If you make one mistake and your momentum's gone, around this track especially, it's very easy to ruin your lap time.
Yeah, it's been a very close qualifying session so far. All 11 drivers separated by a second, and the man in last place at the moment, Hasnain, he's on the softer rubber, so perhaps he could go faster if he goes for those super soft tyres. He did help Williams secure the Constructors' Championship last time out alongside Jompalainen. Pretty inevitable really, with those being out of the top 3 teams this season, the only one that's really had 2 drivers for the majority of the season. But it's still a good achievement to be as consistent as both of them two have been.
It's interesting that some drivers are going for the tactic of using 2 warm-up laps. I was expecting Jompalainen to go for it this lap, but he's still trying to get temperature into his tyres.
Yeah, does look pretty overcast, so perhaps track temperature's not too high, and it is a fairly short lap compared to most of the circuits. It's only Monaco and possibly Austria I can think of that are shorter than this track, so with a long run through the final corner up towards turn 1, wouldn't be surprising if they're losing a lot of tyre and brake temperature and just not feeling confident early enough. I mean, you said Slimbo got it wrong on his first flying lap, so maybe some have seen that and thought it's worth just taking it easier and then going all out on the second run.
Well, Geordie's just proved exactly that. I've watched him go into turn 1. I believe he was starting his hot lap, and turn 1 he obviously wasn't comfortable enough, looked to front left, and now he's backed off already. So
yeah, drivers finding it pretty tricky so far. We've got just over half the session remaining. It's Geordie with a slender lead over Joe Breezy, undefined, and the man we are watching at the moment, Jompalainen, on row 2. And Jompalainen has improved slightly in the first sector. He doesn't need to find much to get himself ahead of undefined and possibly onto the front row. Seems nice and tidy through there at the moment. Keeping it clean, importantly. Doesn't want to do anything stupid. He knows he's going to have another chance to improve his lap time if this doesn't go perfect.
Slimbo has a very impressive lap. As I said earlier, Slimbo does look comfortable in the car around this track, especially in the last sector.
Yeah, he seems to be pretty confident at the moment after a slightly dodgy middle of the season, and Jompalainen joins him on the front row at the moment with a 103.456. With the way this session's going, Stan, I think we're going to get our wish of seeing Jompalainen and Geordie battling out on track.
Seems that way. You see, Geordie is 300s up in Sector 1. He's starting Sector 2 now. it's building up to be a good lap. As I said, it's all about momentum going into turn 10 now. I think it goes down to second gear, but getting a good exit here, then swinging it into turn 11, the long left hand, and just making sure the rear of the car sticks as it does for him. Down to third gear now for turn 12, and now it's about an exit. Some use the curve. Geordie decides not to use as much curve, and now it's a drag race to the line effectively.
Interesting how he's not using full ERS. Will that affect him at all as he comes across the line? But definitely not. 107.1 provisional pole position at the moment.
What does Limbo and Jon Polainen have?
Yeah, Jon Polainen did improve on his lap, but not as much, so it's advantage Geordie at the moment. As always, feel free to comment on Twitter using the hashtag AOR Hype or on the YouTube stream. Hasnain in last place at the moment, saying he thinks this could be a brilliant race, but not for him. You never know what might happen over 36 laps around here.
We have to appreciate his honesty. He's the only one out of the 11 runners that doing his laps on soft tyres. So he's already looking for a different strategy, maybe because he knows or he believes his pace won't be quite there, so maybe strategy is the way to get him into the points.
Yeah, it's definitely worth trying something different if you don't feel you have the outright pace. I regularly try something different and it doesn't really work either way, so... Go for a few
lap
in the order. Schnitzel, I believe he's just heading back to the pits now. I think that most of the drivers will be doing that. He's in 7th at the moment. And Hasnain has improved actually now that he's gone on the super softs to 107.669. It's incredibly close in that midfield. You've got 3 drivers separated by just over 300ths of a second, and there is still a battle in the midfield in the championship at the higher end of it for 3rd place. Pedro, who won last time out in Mexico, getting his first win of the season, he has an 8-point lead over Slimbo, who himself has an 8-point lead over Schumacher. But with Pedro not being here this weekend, it's looking like Slimbo's going to be taking full advantage of that to try and get himself the best of the best title for this season.
It is incredibly close in the midfield, but that does show the level of ability in this championship, that the drivers can be that close with each other. It just makes it more interesting.
Yeah, the tiering system does seem to work well. Some drivers getting shifted to different tiers based on whether they're quicker or slower than they showed in the test runs earlier in the season, and just generally produces good racing and a fantastic championship battle. I'm sure we'd love in the real world to have 3 points separating the drivers with just 2 races remaining, and it could be all sorted this time out, or it could be even more. I thought Breezy was going to go to finish that lap then, but he's gone for a very fast in lap there, clearly just trying to get back to the pits as quickly as possible. Good practice for the race though, trying to get the pit lane speed limiter set just right.
It's a tricky entry because it used to be just a straight into the limiter mark, but now it's almost like a chicane almost, but a flat one. It's very easy to lock a wheel while braking and then getting a penalty.
Yeah, I imagine that's one of the good things about this track and this race being dry, is that in the wet, that pit lane entry would suddenly become a huge challenge, especially when the tyres are going to be worn out.
Also, the exit's difficult. It's not a regular exit that you see at most tracks. One mistake and they're in the wall, which is difficult. Speaking of in the wall, Undefined almost had a visit to the wall there, but managed to keep it.
Yeah, the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi, that's another track with a unique pit entry. We could well see a few drivers in the wall there. I'm still surprised that hasn't happened yet in Formula 1. We know Sainz came close last season with some tyre issues, and Undefined has backed off there, so...
I watched the lap, it was a bit everywhere, especially the corner exit. And that's the difference, as I said earlier. The reason why Geordie's got that lap is because he's able to have confidence in his setup in his car. And Undefined looked a bit shaky, especially when he hit the curbs on the exit. Yeah,
it might be a slightly faster setup if you can get it just right on one lap, but there's no point having that if you don't have the confidence to do it lap in, lap out. Seeing the 2 Salvas here running line astern. Schnitzel just ahead of Joe Breezy, maybe giving him a slight slipstream tap. They've definitely got time for both cars to have a lap and give each other a slipstream, and being one of the few teams that have both their drivers here. There's 4 teams with both drivers. Worth a shot to try and get Breezy up the grid slightly. 0.2 of a second would put him onto the front row, so let's see how it goes here for these two.
Yeah, it's definitely a smart tactic to do, but it also can become risky if the driver in front and the one behind, if they don't maintain that gap, and the one behind pushing on the after that, can easily get caught in the dirty air behind his teammate. So
we'll get to see if it works for these this time out. Although from this distance, I think it's going to be Schnitzel's not really going to be having much of a slipstream effect even. It's quite a long way ahead of Joe. Let's see if his improvement in the first sector. It's pretty decent, but I can't see it being enough to challenge at the moment. 2.5 minutes remaining. It's Geordie on provisional pole, then Slimbo, Jompalainen, Breezy, undefined, Hasnain, Schnitzel, Hipari, Schumacher, Randy Thompson and Kieser. 0.8 of a second separating the grid so far. It all looks like it's going to lead to a fascinating race.
Geordie came out to do a fast lap again. I think similar to Jompalainen. Geordie was only a 1,000th off in the first sector split, but again ran wide at turn 4, which is very easy to do. And unfortunately for him, the time got taken away.
Yeah, what can Joe Breezy do here? It's 107.485. It's an improvement, but not enough to get him up a place. Geordie, as you were saying, he's just backing off now, I think, getting ready for one final lap. So Williams, I believe, behind him as well, beginning to warm up on his lap. Maybe Jompalainen trying to get a slight slipstream of his title rival.
That could become controversial.
Got yellow flags in Sector 3. Hipari's retired from the session, so not sure if he's gone off or he's just had enough of this qualifying. He's in 8th at the moment, but I think that had all cleared by the time these two got through. His Mercedes teammate Schumacher as well is also retired. And Geordie is not going faster, and Schumacher's retired car getting in the way there of Geordie quite a lot.
Geordie will have to nail the next 2 sectors of this lap. I think he's backed off now. Yeah, he's backed off now probably because of the back marker. He was a temp down in sector 1.
Yeah, Jompalainen's backed off also.
That would have done it. Slimbo, I've been praising Slimbo this qualifying, saying this car looked like, similar to Geordie, looks like it's on rails. And I go to him at turn 3 and he's basically sideways. So
yeah, that's
he'll be back off this as well.
He was 1.5 seconds down in sector 1, so he won't be able to improve. Undefined's finished as well, so it is looking good for Geordie at the moment. I think he may just have time to get one final lap in. Checkered flag about to come out. I think he's timed it to perfection, and Jompalainen hasn't quite done enough.
No, he's missed it.
And so unless Hasnain or Kieser can pull off a surprise, it looks like Geordie is going to be on pole and give himself the best possible opportunity of clinching the championship. Hasnain in the pits.
I like this. He's basically got pole, unless, as you said, someone pulls out. No, he's got pole, but he's still going quicker. He still wants to improve on that time. Just 1,000th up in the sector 1 split time, as he will throw it into their 5th gear.
I think he's trying to set a marker down and just.
Oh, there you go.
Bit of a gauntlet to the rest of them. Ran a bit over the curb there. Kieser's the only man who can stop him, and he's backed off.
Yeah.
Kieser does not improve on his best time, so that was an ideal qualifying for our championship leader. Joaquin Geordie will take pole position and will have a clear run towards turn 1 on what is a very tricky start here in Brazil. His title rival will be in 3rd place. Slimbo separating the two. It's pretty much the 3 we expected to be at the front of the grid there.
See, what we were saying before the race, that especially turn 1 here in the first and the middle sector, especially in lap 1, it would be very easy just to knock your front wing against the car in front. So it could be tight. As I said, Jompalainen and Geordie going for the championship. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jompalainen taking more risks, putting his car in plenty more dangerous positions than Geordie, but all Geordie has to do is take it off the line well leading to 1. because it's hard to follow in the middle sector.
Yeah, so Geordie on pole, Slimbo second, Jompalainen third, Breezy and Undefined rounding out the top 5. Everyone went for the super soft tyres in qualifying, and it's only Keezer in 11th who will be able to put fresh tyres on. So it'll be interesting to see what strategy he goes for. This dry race is expected, so a one-stop strategy is the best, we believe. If you're on the super softs, pit in on around lap 8. If you're on, and moving on to the medium tyres, if you're on the softs, pit in around about lap 12 to 15.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm not quite sure. You said lap 8 on the super soft, so obviously depending on how much they push their tyres in their first in, I'm sure there'll be one or two who try to last it that little bit longer, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'd say that's one thing Jompalainen has been very good at doing throughout this season, is just getting his tyres to last long enough to make it more comfortable for himself at the end of the race, so he's not vulnerable. Because we saw last time out Geordie and Slimbo struggling quite a bit towards the end of the race. And of course a safety car could put it all wrong again. Had it 2 races in a row now, a safety car coming out.
The last 2 weeks we've said who's your money on, and we've got them wrong both times.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm going to go for Slimbo here, because I feel as though he's got nothing to fight for as much as Jompalainen and Geordie, and he can just take a few more risks. And Geordie obviously won't want to be getting involved in any collisions, and it is quite a tricky start here with the undulation. Those at the front have an uphill start, and those at the right at the back of the grid, if we had a full grid, they'd be starting downhill, so they'd probably have less traction but have a bit of assistance from gravity.
I think I'd agree with you with Slimbo. He did look very comfortable in qualifying, but then so did Geordie. But at the same time, sometimes the car doesn't perform in the race as well as it looks in qualifying, as we look at the Ferrari in real life recently.
Yeah, they were looking definitely the team to beat in testing, and then as Sebastian said today, how come we are so slow?
Yeah.
I'm sure a Pole called Robert and a Vic called George would absolutely love to be in a car as slow as that Ferrari at the moment.
Poor Williams.
Yeah. I read an interesting fact earlier. Their qualifying time from yesterday was actually slower than their time from 2 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they're the only team to have not improved from this season, from last season to this season, but things definitely going wrong for them. They've gone well for them in PS4 Tier 4 so far, as they are the Constructors' Championship champions, and maybe Jompalainen can give them the Drivers' title as well. He could take a big step towards it today, but he's starting in third. Geordie on pole. We wait for the lights to come on. The 5 lights are lit up, and we will be racing in Brazil. It's a fairly good start from everyone. Slimbo getting a bit of wheel spin, but Geordie's got nice and covered into turn 1. Jompalainen, is he going to try and hang it round the outside of Slimbo? He's not able to. Undefined and Breezy battling further back as well, but it's Geordie, Slimbo and Jompalainen getting away well. Everyone seems to have kept it fairly clean through the first sector of the lap. No real massive opportunities to overtake here. Just Breezy being forced off track slightly by Undefined, and that's allowed Schnitzel to get past him as well, and the 2 Selbers are bumping wheels up towards the corner, but they've got through cleanly enough. They're still going to be side by side into the next turn. This could be very interesting indeed. We were expecting some flying front wings, and there may still be a chance for some yet, but that seems to have sorted itself out with Breezy ahead. Hasnain getting a bit of wheel spin there as well. Keys has got himself up to 10th place, but it's Geordie, Slimbo and Jompalainen, as you were, out in front.
That was very good, clean and fair racing through 1, 2 and 3 at lap 1. From what I saw, there was barely any bump in the margin, so surprised me a bit, but we'll have to wait and see later on. I am expecting something to happen, but if it stays clean like that, we should have some good racing.
Yeah, it's the final race of the season. Usually it leads to some interesting action, but I'm hoping next week will be no different in Yas Marina for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Geordie's already trying to get a second ahead of Slimbo. He's pushing as hard as possible to break that DRS zone. Jompalainen trying to get back in touch with the front two. He can't really afford to be losing a large amount of points to Geordie this time out. And it looks like he's got a bit more pace around the straights in Slimbo, and he's just overcooked it there slightly, going deep into turn 8.
It's like what we said on the warm-up lap has been proven. Slimbo, especially this lap, there's a lot more scrapping than Jon Polainen is. That's why Geordie has been able to pull the lead out as much as he has so far. He went wide at turn 4, and you can see he's kicking the rear a little bit, trying to make stuff. I said that Jon Polainen goes wide as well, possibly leaving the ripper under 5 down the straight.
Yeah, Jon Polainen went very deep there, giving Slimbo a bit of breathing room. No DRS this time around, but they will be onto the back straight as well. Geordie setting the fastest lap is not going to get an extra point for it, as you do now in Formula 1, and we see the message there, DRS enabled. All 11 cars still running fairly close. It's Geordie who's got the biggest lead over the car directly behind him. Jon Polainen falling back a bit from Slimbo, and then Undefined and Breezy all over each other at the moment. That could be one to watch coming up the hill. Breezy is in the slipstream, but he's too far back to try anything into here. Not enough of a braking zone through this bit. Will he try a dive into turn 8? No, decides better of it. So still pretty much as we were off the start. If we look at the changes in position, Undefined and Breezy have swapped, Schnitzel and Hasdane have swapped, and Schumacher has dropped behind for Andy Thompson and Kieser. Kieser in the Toro Rosso, the only driver on the soft tyres.
Breezy is looking very punchy when he gets close enough behind the car in front. I've been watching his revs and gear changes. It looks like he's already saving his tyres, so I'm not sure if he's deciding to go long, but he is short shifting a lot in the middle sector, using less revs than I've seen others like the leaders use. It'll be interesting to see what he's trying.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I think it'd be very brave to try, but perhaps trying to move from the super softs to the softs just to have a bit more grip. Ran a bit deep there, but wasn't. Schnitzel was not close enough, his teammate, to take advantage of that, and Hasname's dropped a few places at the back of the field, so not sure what happened there. Perhaps just overcooking it into turn 1.
No, I missed. I just got on board with him as soon. If he did overcook it, he went very wide, so there might have been contact there with someone perhaps down his inside.
Slimbo has closed up quite a bit on Geordie now. He's got it to within a second, and Jon Polainen hasn't really gone with him. So is Jon Polainen just struggling to keep up with these two at the moment, or is he playing the long game with his tyres? Because he seems to be pulling away from Undefined as well. Slimbo, has he got a better exit out of there? He has slightly. Got his ERS turned up as much as he dares at this stage in the race, and DRS activated. It's going to be too far behind into turn 1, I believe, but if he gets a good exit through here, he could have a chance into turn 4. I think he's just ran a bit deep there.
Yeah. Set the fastest lap though, so in contrary to what I said on lap 1 or 2, he now seems like he's got his head sorted, his car sorted back in the position where he wants it to be. He's cooled his tyre temperatures, and I know they were running a bit high early on. Now I'm expecting him to be a bit pushy now.
Yeah, he's trying to get that 3rd place in the championship, taking advantage of the fact that Pedro isn't here this weekend, and trying to show everyone what he can do. He was in with a chance of winning the title after the first few races. He did win the first race in Australia, but just fell off in the middle of the season. He wants to show he's got the pace to keep with his title contenders. So it's Geordie, Slimbo and Jon Polainen as we come towards the end of lap 5 at the moment. Undefined and Breezy battling for 4th behind, and then Schnitzel, Hipari, Randy Thompson, Kieser, Schumacher and Hasname, the rest of the runners. It's been a very clean start to the race.
Yeah, I'm just watching whether that could end any second. I'm watching Randy Thompson in the slipstream of Hipari. I believe he will have the DRS. He does have the DRS. It might be just a bit too far. He lost time at the exit of the final corner. Yeah, he's not close enough. Jon Polainen does seem like he's struggling. He's definitely struggling to keep up with Slimbo and Geordie. He's just beginning to pull the gap out to Undefined.
Yeah, you can see how much Randy and Hipari battling there. Both of them getting the first penalties of the race as they try and keep up with the cars in front and make any possible overtakes. Breezy's still all over the back of Undefined, and these are beginning to they're keeping with Jon Polainen, and they're beginning to drop Schnitzel now, so perhaps looking at a potential chance at a podium for these guys if they can make the tyres last. You said yourself, I think Breezy's just being a bit more careful on his tyres.
He is. He's doing it now. He's short shifting, using a lot less revs. But I believe he believes he's quicker than under fire. So if he's still here in this position in a couple of laps' time, I believe he might start getting a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, we'd expect cars to start pitting in the next couple of laps, perhaps. Except Keyser, of course, on a different strategy. So if you can make the tyres last longer, you'll be in a good position at the end of the race. Is Breezy going to try and get a better exit through the 3? I don't think that's gone to plan for him now. It's dropped a bit too far back from undefined to have a go into turn 4, unless he goes for a very brave move. Not really a heavy enough braking zone to do that there. But they are keeping with Jon Palainen. Well, as you said, he's dropping back from Slimbo now, so unless he's saving his tyres drastically, this race could be turning into damage limitation already for the man in second place in the championship.
Yeah, I'm just watching the battle between Schnitzel and Keyser. Schnitzel starting to pull off his own truly train. It's very close though, all of them in DRS, but yet none of them able just to make the move done, but they're just literally sniffing each other's exhausts.
Yeah, I think Keys will be happy if he can just keep with these guys, use the slipstream, as we see Hapavi taking a very interesting line through that turn there, and Randy Thompson getting very close now.
Breezy's very close to Undefined down the straight. He'll use DRS to get it. Undefined straight on the defensive, goes down the inside. Breezy's going to have to try and hang it round the outside. I'm not quite sure where Undefined is. I think he's done it. He has done it. Great move round the outside.
Yeah, great move from Breezy. Randy Thompson getting past Hapavi as well. The truly trainer Schnitzel.
Oh, Hapavi off!
Hapavi off. Hapavi has lost it. Will that bring out a safety car? We saw him struggling on his tyres. Randy Thompson got a much better exit than him. Schnitzel has pitted and I believe has come back onto super soft tyres. So perhaps going for a two-stop strategy, feeling like he can't make them last long enough. So bit of a nightmare to retire this early from Hapavi. So we're down to 10 runners. So hopefully everyone else will be able to keep it clean throughout the rest of the race. We head back to Breezy and Undefined. Breezy getting very wild through there. You can tell the tyres are beginning to wear now. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more cars starting to pit.
I wonder if there's contact with the Hapavi incident. I saw the lap before just that crash. I can't remember who was behind it where I was following. I saw he did lose the rear at turn 2. It went wide at turn 3. So I wonder if he did that again or if it was contact. But he did seem a bit shaky at the rear of the car.
They were very close with Randy Thompson and Keyser. Schumacher not too far behind as well. They'd all been held up behind Schnitzel. I know Randy had got past, but we didn't quite see what happened. Maybe Hapavi would be able to enlighten us on if there was anything that caused that incident in particular. But the end result is he is out of the race, and that's a second straight race in a row where he's not finished. He'll be hoping for better luck next time out.
The Toro Rosso have Keyser in a great position so far. He's got a lot more pace than the cars around him, and he's on the soft tyres. It seems like his tyres are starting to come alive now, as the ones around him are struggling.
Yeah, I think he's just got to be patient here. Maybe wait for Randy Thompson to pick, because there's a 4-second gap between Undefined and Randy. So Keyser just waits for top Randy to pit or gets a chance in the DRS zone, because that was not a clean exit from the McLaren. So you'd expect this to be a very similar pass to what we saw with Breezy and Undefined earlier. This time Toro Rosso is attacking. He goes round the outside and he's got it done before turn 1. Locks up slightly, but he's got away with that. Great move.
He's in a great position, Keyser. His soft tyres are doing him well at the moment. It'd be interesting to see how much he closes the gap on his teammate. It's currently 4.4 seconds as Schnitzel's flying now in this new super soft. It's interesting what strategies he's on. There's not expected rain, is there?
No, rain's not expected, so I'm guessing he's just going for the two-stop. Doesn't feel like he can make the tyres last long enough. Joe Breezy as well, he's also gone super soft to super soft, so maybe something that the Sauber drivers have tried in testing. The others have gone longer than we expected, so perhaps they just don't feel that the medium is good enough race tyre to do nearly 30 laps.
That's interesting.
Out in front, we've done so many battles in the midfield, we haven't really mentioned these. Slimbo still within a second of Geordie, but Geordie's keeping the gap big enough so he's not really under any real threat. Jon Palainen 3 seconds back from these. I imagine he'll have been hoping they'll have pitted by now. He's pretty much on his own, as is undefined now that Joe Breezy has pitted. And Keyser, as we've mentioned, on those soft tyres, looking pretty good in 5th position at the moment.
I feel like Geordie's almost playing with Slimbo now. He's one lap the gap will down to DRS, and the next lap Geordie will put it just over a second. So I think Geordie is sitting quite comfortably at the moment.
Yeah, he perhaps feels like he's got the pace to just control this race. They all seem to be doing a good job on their tyres at the front of the field. Battle further down the order between Schumacher and Randy Thompson for 6th place. Randy perhaps struggling a bit on his tyres now. We saw him get very sideways on the last lap, which allowed Keyser to get a run on him into turn 1, and I'm sure Schumacher will be hoping for the same. Just looks a bit too far behind to do anything about it. You can see they're running about a second down on their pace earlier on, so the tyres are definitely getting worn as Jon Palainen comes into the pit lane from 3rd place. Be interested to see where he comes out relative to Breezy, who will have been flying on those super soft tyres. Jon Palainen has gone for the medium, so he's committing himself to the one stop, and he'll be hoping he gets out ahead of Breezy, and Breezy will be hoping he doesn't get hauled up behind Jon Palainen. They're both coming around now, but I think Breezy's already got him.
As I said before, Geordie, the lap when I said I think he's playing with him with DRS, and now he's pulled it to a second and a half. Has been a bit of a sloppy beginning of the lap for Slimbo, who's starting to lose the car a lot more on his tyres.
Yeah, we can see how much Jon Palainen must have been struggling on the super softs. Not only has Breezy got past him, Schnitzel is also ahead of the Williams.
Oh.
He is on fresher tyres now, so it'll be interesting to see his pace relative to those at the lead of the race, perhaps feeling he had to pit earlier to do something different, but it's not going to plan for Jon Palainen at the moment. Still a long way to go, 2/3 of the race, but if it finished as it is now, Geordie would be champion as Slimbo comes into the pits, as does Undefined.
Yeah, Slimbo was really struggling that lap on his tyres, so it's probably the right decision for him to come in and chase that. I think he's been held up, he has been held up by the Toro Rosso in the pits, so that won't help him a lot. It seems like the cars are struggling to follow each other, especially in the middle to last sector.
Yeah, perhaps a few drivers going for less, well, you say more downforce would probably affect them if they're struggling to follow each other to try and get a better run through the middle sector. Breezy gets a penalty. Slimbo, where will he come out? Just behind Schnitzel as well, so be interested to see where Geordie joins after these. You'd imagine he'll be pitting this lap because he will be losing time to all these runners on the fresh tyres, and the pits have definitely worked out well for Breezy. He's up in 4th place at the moment, but both him and Schnitzel will have to stop again.
That did not, I don't think it worked great for Slimbo. He's lost time to Jon Palainen, as you can see. Jon Palainen yesterday 2nd final now, but he's also got stuck behind both Saubers who are on new Supersofts, and especially Breezy are showing impressive lap times at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see if Jon Palainen, as I said before, if he is willing to risk the car a lot more. He's in DRS, so if he can get the clean exit at the last corner, both run a bit wide.
Yeah, it's getting a bit now or never for him. The race leader Geordie has pitted, so we will probably see him coming out of the pit lane just ahead of this battle, maybe behind Joe Breezy. He's gone onto the mediums as well, but Jon Palainen too far behind, but brakes very late to try and catch up to Slimbo there. Keyser's in for a great, could get a great result here because he can go, I believe he can go a bit longer than 13 laps on those softs. It'd be interesting to see if he's willing to push it longer to end the race on super softs, or if he'll do what most other drivers are doing and end it on mediums. Yeah, I imagine he'd like to end it on super softs, but a lot just depends on how long he can get those softs to last for. Hasnane doing a decent job on the super softs. He's managed to get them to last 13 laps, so perhaps if Keyser can pull out another 8 or 9 laps, less fuel at the end, meaning he won't have to use those super softs as much. Less energy going into the tyres means they'll last a lot longer. So it's doable, but I'd imagine he'll go onto the mediums.
Yeah, if he does manage to last them onto the super soft engine, he'll be very quick towards the end. While the ones on the mediums and both Saubers will, well, not both Saubers, sorry, the ones on the mediums will be a lot slower towards the end because they'll have to manage their tyres. It's a long way to go on one set of tyres on this.
Yeah, Geordie came out in 4th place, splitting the 2 Saubers, and even though Schnitzel is on the super softs, they've done 7 laps, so he's probably already taken the best out of them. So Slimbo and Jompalainen will be catching up to him. And perhaps, if Slimbo gets held up by Schnitzel, this could be the opportunity Jompalainen needs.
Yeah, I was watching the gap ahead, Hasner. You said Hasner's doing a great job lasting his super softs. He's doing it well to last this long, but he's starting to lose a lot more time now than the ones around him. So maybe it might be beneficial pitting now, but it'd be interesting to see if he'll go onto the softs.
Yeah, I think lasting this long on the super softs, that's the strategy. He's pretty much committed himself for. There'll be no point going on to the mediums. He won't have enough of a pace advantage, you'd imagine now. And he's dropped into the clutches of Joe Breezy already, who has got DRS. Hasnain stays to the left. It's perhaps a sign that he is diving off into the pit lane, and he does. So Breezy up into 2nd. Geordie back onto the podium.
Hit round Slimbo to turn 1. He's closing a lot. Not enough. But a lot of drivers are locking up into turn 1, which is interesting. It's quite a difficult one to get right, especially when they're pushing and close to another car. But I mean, Slimbo is starting to get a lot punchier now, but behind the Sauber.
Yeah, he's just over 2 seconds behind Geordie at the moment. So he'll be hoping to dispatch the Sauber as quickly as possible, because he's definitely going to get held up throughout this section. Geordie getting his first time penalty of the race there, so that could be something to keep an eye on if it's close between these towards the end. And you can just see how much Jompalainen has now been able to catch up to the back of these. Could be very interesting into turn 1 on the next lap.
Obviously, in the nicest way possible, Jompalainen is hoping these two have to tangle into each other just to clear the air for him. But he could get involved in turn 1 because he'll have a double slipstream if they both move to the side.
Yeah, Slimbo locks up slightly, but it hasn't really affected him that much. All seems to be nice and clean. I think they're all going to be too far behind. Kiza has pitted on those soft tyres, so he'll be going to the medium. So Joe Breezy in the lead, but himself and Schnitzel will have to pit again. Slimbo a lot closer through turn 3. Schnitzel having to go very defensive on the run to 4. It's going to be a brave man who goes round the outside through here. Slight contact between the two. They're still going to be side by side running up the hill towards Ferradjova. Could this all end in tears? Jompalainen's ready to pounce if anything happens, and Schnitzel holds on there.
Not quite sure Slimbo. I saw Slimbo got a penalty for exceeding track limits then. I don't know if that was the exit of turn 4, but I didn't see much. But Schnitzel's doing a great Giovinazzi impression from the Australian race today in the same car. He's becoming to make a bit of a habit of this race, especially having his own train.
Yeah, he does seem to be struggling with tyre wear more than the others, and this has allowed Geordie to get a long way ahead of these. That 2 second gap has now doubled, but you'd imagine there's nothing Schnitzel is going to be able to do heading into turn 1 at the halfway point of the race. Slimbo round the outside into the centre S. Schnitzel brakes as late as he can. Avoids contact, and Slimbo is through. But Schnitzel will have DRS now. Big dummy a bit there on Slimbo. Schnitzel's got the inside line, and he's taken the place back. But is Slimbo going to try and hang it on all the way around the outside? Big Schnitzel politely there, putting him onto the curb. He did have the racing line for that corner, so nothing untoward there. And Schnitzel somehow maintains 3rd position.
That's a great move from Schnitzel. I feel like he planned that just before the exit of turn 3, sending a dummy to Slimbo, so we went defensive right. Schnitzel had the inside line, little friendly nudge to Slimbo on the curve just to say it's my position now. As I said, Jompalainen just seems to be sitting here, seeing what they do. I believe if Slimbo has enough pace to make the move and stay in front, then I believe Jompolainen will make it. So if Schnitzel is struggling even more, Slimbo have a better run now along the straight. He's in the slipstream already in 180, 190 miles an hour. Schnitzel will go defensive. And Slimbo is trying around the outside again, but we know Schnitzel today especially seems to be very late on the brakes. You can see they both lock up big time. Schnitzel keeps the position.
But this time it'll be Slimbo, sorry, who's behind, heading down the straight. He's going to have DRS. Jompolainen's got it as well. Schnitzel has the inside once again. It's the third time Slimbo's tried it, but this time he's just got more grip all the way round the outside, and he's up into third place. And Schnitzel nearly losing it on the curb there. Yeah,
the move was always going to happen, but fair play to Schnitzel for hanging on in there for as long as he could. Now he's going to have to do that again for Jompolainen.
Yeah, I think Schnitzel trying to make his tyres last so he can go on to the softs for the final stint. Joe Breezy will be trying to do the same out in front, but Geordie has closed the gap down slightly now. It's just over 2 seconds, and Slimbo has got 5 seconds to find all of a sudden. So Geordie will be feeling pretty comfortable with just under half the race to go. 17 laps remaining here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Schnitzel already having to go defensive. And he's actually gone into the pit lane, so that is that done for Jompolainen. Nice and easy. He's up to 4 and hasn't really lost too much time comparative to Slimbo there.
Well, I know it's fault, but when Breezy pits, which he'll have to, Jompolainen is on the podium with his championship rifle, but it'd be interesting. He'll have to push to catch Slimbo, because I believe he'd rather finish only 1 position behind Geordie and not make the gap into the last half of the title any bigger.
Yeah, if with Geordie first and Jompolainen third, which we'd expect after Breezy's pit stop, it would be a 13-point gap, so there's 3 more points to offer here for second position if Jompolainen can manage it. Don't forget Undefined as well. He's only 2 and a bit seconds behind these, and he does have a win earlier on this season, so he'll be trying to get involved as well.
Where's his teammate Kieser, who I said could be fast towards the end? He's already on 3. He's on fresher mediums, but whether or not he'll have the pace to keep up with his teammate and keep the pace towards the end for the last 16 laps or so, 15 laps or so, will be interesting to see.
Yeah, Breezy has pitted, so Geordie now in the lead of the race. You'd expect that to be the last scheduled pit stops for everyone now, so it'll be interesting to see where the Sauber comes out. I believe he'll be just behind the Randy Thompson, Hasdane and Schumacher battle. You can see the McLaren just going round the outside there. He's actually going to fit into the middle of it, and will he be able to hold Randy Thompson off? You could just see what I said earlier about the McLaren not having the straight line speed. Even coming out of the pit lane, Breezy was able to just stay ahead there and keep 6th position. Speaking
about the straight line speed, you said Randy Thompson McLaren doesn't have it. That's a different strategy, because I've just seen around a shorter straight after turn 3 in the run to turn 4. Jompolainen and Williams he's running a lower drag setup because he's pushing 200 and he's not hitting 8th gear. He's keeping it in 7th gear.
Yeah, perhaps that means Jompolainen feeling pretty comfortable on his fuel consumption as well. That's another thing the driver's having to watch out for throughout the race. He's trying desperately hard to get within a second of Slimbo. It's hovering around that at the moment, but as soon as he gets within that, he'll have the DRS, and that's just going to help him keep in touch and make it all the more nervous for Slimbo in the final few laps.
Geordie's doing exactly what you need to do. He pole position, put the car in a position you need it, and then just kind of run his own race. He'll be able to control the pace of the race, but his sole focus is just at this rate, probably bringing the car home. He knows he's quicker than the ones behind today.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to risk anything stupid with a 5.5 second lead. Be interested to see how Hasdane can do. He said he didn't enjoy this track, but he's in 8th on the soft tyres at the moment, and he will have to go quite a long way on these, so perhaps not pushing too hard at the moment. 2 Saubers, they'll have a bit more freedom at the end of the race, so you'd expect Schnitzel to close up to the back of this battle as well. We'll just have a quick run through the order as we're on lap 23 at the moment. Geordie in the lead, 5.4 seconds ahead of Slimbo, who's just a second ahead of Jon Palainen. The two Toro Rossos are 4th and 5th. Joe Breezy in 6th, Randy Thompson, Hasnain and Schumacher line astern for 7th, 8th and 9th. And then Schnitzel in 10th place. Hapari, the only retirement so far.
Could be fun to watch or keep a look at for Breezy's lap times. He's on the new, much fresher soft tyres than anyone else. He'd be faster than Keyser in front, who's on older mediums. He just did a 1 minute 10.1 that lap, which was 6/10 quicker than Keyser.
Yeah, you'd expect him to catch up pretty quickly. Hasnain perhaps sensing that if he wants to get anything more out of this race, he's going to have to push pretty hard as he made his way past Randy Thompson there for 7th position. Go on board with Breezy at the moment, and now that he's got Keyser in his sights, he's going to be feeling a lot more confident of getting a good result out of this race here.
Has there been any news from Hipari's incident, or do we still not know yet what happened to them?
Still not sure what happened to him at the moment. But hopefully we will find out. Perhaps just frustration at getting past, or just the tyres beginning to wear out. We've seen a few struggle with that, especially Schnitzel. He seems to be struggling more than most with tyre wear at the moment.
Breezy's looking fast. Consistent 10.1s from him. 6/10 a lap before quicker than Keyser, and then 1.2 seconds that lap quicker than Keyser. So he will be sniffing that gearbox of the Toro Rosso any lap now.
Yeah, he's got it down to within a second pretty much now. So as long as he keeps it clean through these final few corners, you'd expect him to be on the back of the Toro Rosso. Maybe not this time around, but definitely at the end of the next lap, once he's used those fresh tyres to their full capacity.
It could be a DRS. I think he will be a DRS now. You see Keyser's having to control the car in that long left-hander, where Breezy's almost can keep his foot planted and not have to correct the rear at all just because of the more grip he's had. He'll have a nice slipstream up to turn 1, whether or not it'll be close enough or not. He'll put it in overtake mode. 8th gear DRS is open. Keyser already going defensive. Interested, I think Breezy will be close enough to make the move fastest lap of 1:9.9. He doesn't do it in the end.
Yeah, Keyser going defensive and then moving back opposite the racing line. That's fine to do as long as you need a car's width. And he's already going defensive down towards turn 4. Breezy's going to have to brake a lot later to get it done. Keyser just holding on there, and Breezy getting a bit wild on the curb and dropping back.
So was Breezy. There's two curbs, the exit of 4 and the entry of 5 are evil. I saw Breezy went over it then and lost the rear. Then on the correction he happened to hit the curb of the entry of 5, and she also sent the rear out, so he lost some time. You can see he's a lot more confident. He's got a lot more belief in the car, so he's already got the gap down again.
Yeah, you'd expect he'll want to get this done sooner rather than later, perhaps looking at catching Undefined up in the other Toro Rosso, and especially now that Keyser's locked up into the penultimate corner at turn 13, so Breezy will have another run here. 11 laps to go. He's got DRS and Keyser's not even bothering defending that this time, perhaps just realising it's not worth it at the moment.
Nice knock off from Breezy, but it was an easy move. I think they both realised this. We say that Breezy gets a poor exit out of 2 onto 3. It goes defensive. Keyser will have a loop. You can see Breezy is pulling away down the straight even, but he has compromised his entry for turn 4. So maybe the run up to turn 6 and 7 could be fun for the Toro Rosso. It'll be a nice slipstream, but it's a brave move to try and do into this next right-hander. Yeah,
unless you're side by side already, it's pretty much impossible to get a move done through there. So Joe Breezy up to 5th place. Undefined will be his next target in the other Toro Rosso. Out in front, Slimbo has caught up slightly to Geordie. The gap now just under 5 seconds at 4.5, and he is beginning to pull away with it from Jon Palainen. So the Finn in the Williams is going to struggle to finish any higher than 3rd here today, you feel.
Again, I feel like Geordie and Slimbo are kind of just swapping lap times with each other. Because last lap it was almost, I think, 5 seconds. Slimbo was, unless Geordie's had a scruffy lap this time, Slimbo has closed almost half a second. but he is running very low on fuel, I can see, and very low on ERS as well.
Yes, we've seen that a few times from Slimbo where he seems to use a lot of the ERS, but he's going to have to think about fuel saving if he wants to get to the end of this race. He had to do that last time and it perhaps cost him a place in the last race in Mexico. So perhaps not over yet for Jompalainen if Slimbo has to do some drastic fuel saving towards the end, but he'll be hoping he's got it all nice and covered. You'd imagine he's practiced many race distances over the week. I know he did say before Mexico he'd actually already accidentally started practicing with Brazil because he completely forgot about the Mexican track. So you'd imagine he's well practiced, especially when compared to the other drivers.
Yeah, similar to that's exactly what Norris did over the winter season. You said practiced Melbourne about 600 times or something. I was going to say about Breezy, in just almost 2 laps he's already pulled the gap to Keita to a second and a half. He's got the gap down to just over 3 seconds to the next tour or so he's looking very fast at the moment.
Yeah, some of the other soft tyre runners, Schnitzel's beginning to close up to Schumacher. Hasnain, who we go on board with now, he has pulled out a bit of a gap to Randy Thompson and is closing up to Kieser, so perhaps the Dutchman's defensive work is not over for this race with 9 laps remaining at the moment.
It'll be fun to watch on next year's game about when the fastest lap point is introduced, because I'll admit, if you heard last week's broadcast, I wasn't the biggest fan of it when it was announced, but after watching the race today at Melbourne, it was quite fun to watch, especially towards the end, all the drivers pushing for that 1 extra point, because it is 21 extra points. I wonder how it'll play out on this.
Yeah, interested to see some of the team dynamics that went involved with that as well. Mercedes pretty much telling Bottas that he couldn't pit for fresh tyres to get that fastest lap point. In the end he didn't need them, and Hamilton did set the 2nd fastest lap of the race, so he was definitely trying to take that point off his teammate as well. One thing I'm surprised didn't happen with Leclerc in 5th place. I'm surprised Ferrari didn't pit him with the gap they had behind him and just try and get that extra point, because you never know what's going to happen at the end of the season.
I did think that, but then that made me think maybe that ran through the head, but maybe they didn't have enough fresh tyres to put on him. Maybe that's why they kept him out.
That is a possibility with the limited tyres, or perhaps they saw what happened to Grosjean for the 2nd year running in Melbourne. Another pit lane issue didn't affect him straight away, but it was definitely a wheel nut issue there, and that caused his retirement from the race. The next round will be in Bahrain in 2 weeks' time.
It's interesting. Slimbo's got the gap to Jordi now down to just under 4 seconds. I don't know if he's pushed a lot more. From the last time I was on board with him, he saved a lot more ERS.
Yeah, he's definitely got more ERS, but he's still looking a bit marginal on fuel at the moment. So perhaps just going for glory here. He's trying to build up a gap over Jompalainen, and he's got that to 3 seconds, so he might be alright as long as he doesn't have to go into a crazy fuel saving mode at the moment. But he's definitely just treating this as a qualifying session with how hard he is pushing at the moment. They're in the same shot there. Jompalainen just behind as well. Breezy picking up another penalty as he tries to catch up to Undefined, and the other Sauber of Schnitzel is now right behind Schumacher as they battle for 9th place at the moment. Just 7 laps remaining.
It's quite a spread out field if you look at all. There's very similar gaps between all drivers. That's quite surprising, but I've been seeing the onboards. It does seem quite difficult to follow the cars through the middle sector especially. So maybe that'll explain the gaps.
Yeah, Schnitzel having a quick look there to see if he could get it done into turns 5 and 6, but not able to do it. But you can just see the extra pace he's got from them soft tyres. Is he going to give it a quick dive into 11?
Oh.
No. He would not be happy with that. I think he was expecting Schumacher to stick to the right hand side a bit more, but I don't think the Lebanese driver in the Mercedes quite expected Schnitzel to have that much of a run on him going into that corner.
Well, Schnitzel did well to keep that at the wall, but from the Schnitzel's onboard, it looks like Schumacher didn't quite know where to go, so I think he decided just to park the car in the middle and let Schnitzel sort his own problems out.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if that goes to the stewards at the end of the race. with 6 laps to go, Schnitzel might have time to go for another move, and perhaps after that he won't be as friendly as he was there. But the gap's pretty much spread out. Slimbo closing to within 3 seconds briefly there.
Yeah.
Of Geordie. He's going to have to push like mad to do anything about it. Coming round the final corners of lap 31, and you'd imagine Geordie pretty much has this sewn up. Looking at his onboard, he's pretty much bang on fuel at the moment. So it could be an interesting last couple of laps here.
The last few laps, Geordie's been doing mid to high 110s, where Slimbo's been pushing, we believe, and doing mid to low 110s. They both have 1 penalty each, so they're matching on a lot of things, it seems.
Yeah, Jompalainen, I believe, is clean on penalties, so he'll be wanting to get within 3 seconds of Slimbo, because that'll give him that all-important second place and what could be a crucial 3 points by the end of next week.
Jompalainen he is clean on penalties. He's also set his fastest lap of the race last time round, so he's still got some pace in his car. Whether or not it'll be enough to catch the likes of Slimbo, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably going to be too little too late for Geordie, but with penalties he's right in with a chance of getting second place at the moment if he can't manage it on track. Joe Breezy hasn't quite caught up as much to Undefined over the last few laps as we'd expected. He's about 1.5 seconds behind, so that could get pretty interesting towards the end of the race. Ditto with Hasnain and Kiza. We may have to see both Toro Rossos do some defending, and Schnitzel's already caught up another second to Schumacher, so expect to see that battle liven up over the final 4 laps here.
I'll keep an eye on the Breezy Undefined battle, because with only 4 laps left now, I think Breezy is going to throw everything his soft tyres have got at the Toro, so I reckon he'll probably get in DRS in maybe 2 or 3 laps, which will give a very good ending.
Yeah, on board with him there. He still seems to be taking it fairly careful on those soft tyres, so I'm not sure whether that's just him ensuring he's got a bit of tyres left for the end, or if he's already used the best of them and now he's just thinking about making sure they don't fall off the cliff, as it were, in the final few laps, because one spin could easily ruin what has been another good performance from both of the Sauber drivers, really, to try and make a 2-stop strategy work. It's gone a hell of a lot better for Breezy, because he definitely did seem to be able to make those super softs last a lot longer in the early stages of the race.
Yeah, you could be right. I can see he's still short shifting. He short shifted heavily from the from turn 5. He went from 6th to 7th very early, and also the long left hand between 11 and 12 he short shifted. So I'm not sure if that's how he just preferred to drive, or if he, as you said, he's saving it for the end.
Yes, I said I expected Schnitzel to get on the back of Schumacher by the end of the race. He's done it 3 laps earlier than I would have thought. He's in DRS zone already. He'll be too far behind going into turn 1, but good exit here from the Dutch driver. He'll be right in with a shot through turn 3 and 4, especially now that Schumacher has locked up, so Schnitzel's going to have a much better run, and Schumacher going defensive very early there when I perhaps don't feel there was a need to, and that's just going to allow Schnitzel to close up even more.
There's 3 very interesting battles going on in the last few laps. Obviously Schnitzel and Schumacher. Breezy's now only half a second off Undefined, and Slimbo has got within 2 seconds of Geordie. Whether or not Geordie's started to relax and take a call, while Slimbo has got great race pace.
Yeah, we're expecting Slimbo to have to do more tyre saving. He has got 1 lap older tyres, but it shouldn't make a major difference. And we've definitely seen that he's going to have to save more fuel, but he doesn't seem to be doing that at the moment. He is going all out, and Geordie has got an additional penalty.
Breezy going to try around the outside of turn 1 of Undefined. Good defender from Undefined. He put his car there early. He let Breezy know his intentions already, but Breezy will have a good exit on the exit to free onto the back straight. Undefined instantly goes defensive as they cut over the pit exit. Let's go around the outside of 4 onto 5. If he goes on that curb on the outside, it could be tricky to get the rear under control. He has gone wide, and he has lost the rear. Gives the room for Undefined. Maybe no, he's made the move down.
So Breezy up to 4th place. Just quickly before that battle, we saw Geordie getting another penalty there.
Yeah.
So I believe, as it stands, that would leave Slimbo as the winner. and could even drop Geordie behind Jompalainen. It's fascinating how just getting it wrong around one corner, everything can change.
That could be crucial, that penalty. I saw it come up at the bottom of the screen. If he does lose the race for that, and potentially lose points to Jompalainen, he will be kicking himself.
Yeah, I believe it will be 6 seconds is how far ahead he will need to be of Jompalainen. It's about 5.7 at the moment as they are on their final lap. Have a look at Schnitzel now battling still with Schumacher for that 9th position at the moment. Just a bit far back. He's going to have to do a very brave move into turn 1. Schumacher's not bothering defending, and there's definitely a gap there for Schnitzel. He's gone late on the brakes as Schumacher. Will Schnitzel be able to do the cutback? You imagine he's going to have to go defensive into turn 4. He's already cutting across, but Schnitzel's got enough of the car alongside him, and that should be a straightforward pass for the Sauber driver to get 9th position.
Has Geordie just thrown this win away with that late penalty as he approaches the final corner now of the race?
Yeah, Geordie is definitely going to win out on track, but as it stands at the moment with penalties, we're expecting that to change to a Slimbo victory. Geordie crosses the line in 1st position. Slimbo is going to be the race winner, and Jompalainen takes 2nd position.
Oh, Geordie will be kicking himself for that late mistake. He had the race in his hands.
Yeah, undefined getting past Breezy as well. I'm not sure if that was on track or due to penalties. Hasnain ahead of Kieser as well. So the Williams getting 6th position. Randy Thompson coming across the line in 8th, but just getting picked by Schnitzel. And that was definitely a dramatic end to the race there, with penalties getting involved. Slimbo taking his 3rd win of the season. And in the end, fuel saving was not as much of an issue for him. Jompalainen didn't seem to have the pace again, but once again keeping it clean to take 2nd position. And Geordie in 3rd. That definitely leaves it all to play for. And I said to you before the race, the ideal situation would be having these two dead level on points going into Abu Dhabi, and that is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. If we're talking to the podium drivers finished on the podium, as Geordie's had enough already of the session, it'd be interesting to see just how, I think you can understand just from that how frustrated Geordie is with himself of that penalty. But as I said, this gave us a great fun around now.
Yeah, we'll just run through the rest of the order quickly. So Undefined getting 4th position from Breezy after penalties being applied. Hasnain, both Williams drivers doing a good job keeping it clean in 6th. Kieser 7th. Schnitzel moving up to 8th, just pipping Randy Thompson. And Schumacher rounding out the finishers in 10th place, with Hapari retiring early on. So definitely leaves it all very interesting going into the final round of the season. We will invite the top 3 now into the session for some podium interviews. Hopefully they're all willing to talk to us after what will have been a tiring race for all involved. But definitely it makes everything as interesting as possible going into the final race of the season. Yeah, it's going to be all or nothing. Jompalainen, you still imagine, is going to have to take more risks than Slimbo Geordie, because Jompalainen hasn't won as many races as Geordie and won't do so next time out. But should be interesting. A few of the drivers beginning to come into the chat now. Slimbo, congratulations, your 3rd win of the season.
70% tyres, personal bests. I shouldn't have been pushing that hard, but I wanted it so bad.
Yeah, we saw. Were you having to save fuel at all? Because when we were running on board with you, so we saw the indicator saying you were running pretty low on fuel. So we were both surprised that you were able to keep that pace up for as long as you did.
Yeah, I was low on fuel. Well, not low on fuel, but I was negative on the projected amount for the end of the race. I just put it into lean for the last few laps in the middle sector. Didn't lose much time, and managed to get the fuel back to positive.
Yeah, and I imagine you were quite relieved when you crossed the line, and you wouldn't have seen it, but with Geordie getting a penalty
No
in
idea.
the final few laps, getting your third win of the season, and it's been a good end to the season and a good start as well. You must be gutted about what happened in the middle part of the season, where you seem to have the pace, but it just didn't go quite right for you.
Yeah, I mean, the middle of the season was a learning curve. Like it's my first season racing at this high level, and it caught me off guard per se, and needed to learn how to do setups properly, and all the learning curves. But it's now paying off all the end of the season, and now I'm able to battle at the front.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to show more of that in coming seasons. And in the final race, we'll move on to our second place finisher, and now tied for the lead of the championship, Jompalainen.
Hey guys.
You've done it clean again, and that's proving to work out pretty well for you this season, getting you up to second place there.
Yeah, I had no idea. Jordi had those penalties, so I just kept pushing to the end. I knew Slimbo had 3 seconds, so I tried to catch on him, but couldn't make it inside those 3 seconds. He was a bit faster and kept away. But yeah, the important thing I suppose was getting points on Jordi and being equal on points after 20 races is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't think you could write anything better than that. I'm definitely going to try and tell the rest of the AOR guys that we've got a tied championship battle with 20 races of the season gone. What would you say your strengths are relative to Geordie going into the final race of the season?
I think penalties have been positive for me. Also tire life. Usually, because I know I was a bit over 6 seconds behind Jordi for the most of that medium stint as well, but in the end it was like 5 or something, so yeah, maybe tire life and penalties. Not the most exciting things, but they count too.
Yeah, and assuming that the second half of Canal Yanda doesn't turn up to the final race of the season, if possible, will you be trying to use Hasnain to try and help you as much as possible to get this championship?
I don't know, we haven't really done much team playing as such. He said that he won't fight me too hard if I come up behind him or something, so that's nice, but probably won't be anything more than that.
Yeah, well, it definitely leaves it all very exciting for us next week. Stan, do you have anything to add?
I have a
Yeah,
question for
it's very well deserved. And it was
I do have a question for Jompalainen. With you tying points in the last round, is your approach going to be risk everything, or are you going to be solely focusing on where Geordie is?
I think you keep an extra eye on him for the last five races or so. Just know where he is, but doesn't really change the approach, I think. Just put in practice, try to be fast and get the best result you can. If I win, I'll be behind me, so I guess that's what I have to be going for.
Okay.
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting. So thanks to Jompalainen and again to Slimbo, our race winner, for joining us for the first time we've attempted any after race interviews. So hopefully we will have another exciting race next time out in Abu Dhabi, the championship decider. 20 races have been and gone since well before Christmas, and it comes to the final round with 28 laps around the Yas Marina circuit to decide who will be the champion of season 16 for the PlayStation 4 F4 tier. Will it be Geordie or Jompalainen? There's one thing to be certain, it will definitely be entertaining and not one to miss. Thank you all so much for watching, and good night.